Sorry, y'all. We're all good.
Okay, are there any additions to the agenda?
No, there are not.
Okay, citizen comments. Any citizen comments for items that are not on the agenda? You may stand up, state your name and address at the podium. You'll have 3 minutes per person.
Hi, John Honnold, 45 Cook Court. I was going to start this out a little differently, but after talking to council, I'm going to ask, do you guys know what's going on with BNSF and CDOT at this stage over in the Sunrise Acres area at 47 and 52? Are you aware of any of that? They're basically trying to buy our land to widen the road. Were you anybody aware of this?
Yeah.
You were, as of in the construction starting next week. You were also aware of that?
I don't know if we knew construction was starting next week, but we're aware of them actually making those improvements over there.
Right. Any reason the homeowners weren't discussed with on this subject?
I'm not aware of any acquisition from residential properties at all. I mean, the town was involved, as I told Mr. Honnold, with the Green Acres Turf Farm and the Yoshi and Suzu properties. But from Sunrise Acres, I was not aware of anything.
Yeah, they're taking, not fortunately for me, it's not a big chunk of my property, but my neighbor and the other two to the east of me on 45 Cook Court, they are getting a big chunk taken away from theirs, or taken, bought, whatever.
We were under the impression that they had reached out to all of you guys.
Never heard a word from anybody, which quite frankly, I think is inappropriate and
No, I
basically
would agree with
BS.
you.
I don't know
Absolutely.
why. Well, let's put it this way. I did hear 2 days ago, finally. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah, but that's a little late.
Yeah, it is. They're starting on the 20th, according to this road sign.
Okay.
I have a question.
It's closed all next week then up there.
Yes.
Go ahead, Laura.
The property that's being taken, I thought that side was only, they were using CDOT right of way, not actual property, personal property. Is that true?
And I wonder if if it was, in other words, this is going to sound weird, but if it was otherwise reserved for that for future use as an easement, which would appear like people's property until they use it for the road.
I don't believe it's easement.
Okay.
And the reason
And I don't know. It's just.
And the reason I say that is because I spoke to somebody at the ROW advisors right away.
Okay.
And Mike Tenney was his name. And he told me that let's see, how can I put this? He said that the easement isn't the problem. That's why he's trying to buy some of the property. They're trying to move the ditch. And for my purposes anyway, on my property, they've got to move the ditch 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so not a big deal as far as property is concerned, but once again, still appropriate. I don't know why nobody was aware and we weren't informed by anybody about this.
Is that something that we can look into in a hurry?
So I can make, I have a few contacts in CDOT. I can ask and see what's going
Okay,
on.
Corey, do
try
you want to
just-
look into that? I mean, there's nothing legally we can do there.
But we
No.
can do some fact finding.
Right.
at least.
Okay.
And the other thing, I guess, eminent domain, I guess CDOT has jurisdiction possibly to do that if they need.
CDOT does have the power of eminent domain. They have told the town previously that they wouldn't exercise it for this project. So
Right. I
I
have those
don't know.
notes too. That was the previous town manager actually was told that, I believe it, in a meeting back in September.
I was told it as well.
Yeah.
And I was
And-
here for that meeting.
Yeah, so I mean, that they made that clear. Now, that's ultimately the town worked with BNSF to acquire the property from Green Acres Turf Farm and from Yoshi and Suzu. But those were the only two that the town was involved in.
Yeah, and I was curious why didn't they go to the Green Acres Turf Farm and
They
go
did.
there, but they're not widening it there. They're not touching that property according to.
BNSF is making improvements as part of the intersection improvements to serve the BNSF industrial park that required acquisition of Green Acres Turf Farm and Yoshi and Suzu property. The Green Acres Turf Farm acquisition is actually on the agenda tonight.
Right. Yeah, I saw that actually.
I hate to cut you off, but the 3 minutes are up. I'll give you just 20
Okay.
seconds to finish. And then maybe I'd
That's about it. I
recommend,
just wanted to know why we weren't informed by anybody, period. That's the bottom
Okay.
line.
yeah, no, I absolutely agree that you should have been informed. I'd reach out to Jennifer
Yeah.
to see
Okay.
to investigate further.
And one last real quick item, aloe was supposed to be throughout the town, is that correct? Or only a certain area of the town?
So there should be a map online where aloe was. It's most of all town proper. There were some properties further out
Right?
The
east
prison.
that they couldn't reach because the infrastructure is not there.
So east and towards the prison were the
Yeah,
two places
yeah.
they weren't.
My
gonna
my
get to.
neighbor is at that 55 Cook Court and he doesn't have aloe and we're going to be getting it, I guess, at 45 or just a couple hundred feet away.
So I was going to say there should be fiber on poles when we're all connected and plugged into the system. There's fiber on poles on 47.
Yeah, eventually. And I guess I saw something about BNSF too with that on the agenda relating to aloe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
actually, those are our crossing permits that
Oh,
are on
it's out
the,
there. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
to get aloe under the
All
railroad
right,
tracks.
that's it. Next time.
Thank you,
just
sir.
would
I
like
appreciate
to-
it. And make sure you follow up with Jennifer too.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
please.
thanks.
Any other citizens wishing to make comments? Okay. We will move on to the consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? No questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Was that in favor, Laura, or opposed?
That was in favor. Sorry.
Okay, I'll try and give you more time. Moving on to general business. Ordinance 22-01.
Yes, so this is the second reading of the rec committee amendments that we put before you. Those amendments were primarily centered on trying to retain and get new members. Does anybody have any questions? This is the second reading.
Seeing no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 22-01 and ordinance amending Article 19 of Chapter 2 of the Hudson Municipal Code, the Hudson Recreation Committee, second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 22-21.
So the last meeting, or I should say 1 hour before the last meeting on March 2nd, you all had a work session to interview for potential appointed council members. And those four persons are listed in your packet. They are up for consideration for you tonight. I think the idea is that maybe you would like to appoint this person tonight. They're at the top of your agenda. So of course, if whoever gets appointed can sit in during the rest of the meeting. But I guess if you guys have any discussion, guys and gals have any discussion you'd like to have at this point, this would be the time you have it. And then any motion for potential appointee would follow. Does that kind of make sense procedurally? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I just wanted to thank all of them. I thought they all have special qualities. And coming up here and, wanting to do this. I know that every single one of them, I think it's hard for me because they each have their own thing. I know Shannon ran and had quite a few votes last time.
That was gonna be my suggestion, because she was on the, if Maria and Mike hadn't have ran, Lisa and Shannon would have been the ones that would have been appointed.
There's one that had a lot of qualifications. And I think it'd be a great benefit to the town at this time, being on the town council. That would be Lori Coons.
I have concerns there just because I'm concerned that there may be a conflict of interest with all the work with Ms. Coons and the town of Kingsburg.
I think that's a question to ask.
Yeah, I wondered that too. I wasn't sure how, if that's fine, if it's not fine.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
Ms. Coons, do you want to? Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
I'm
Okay,
impressed.
perfect.
Thank you. Not everybody does. It is not a conflict of interest because if it's confidential, either side, it stays confidential. I've been doing boards for a long time.
Okay, what exactly is your role with the town of Kingsburg? Do you have an official role there?
I
or-
do human resources. I do payroll, accounts payable, accounting, grants, public works. So a little bit of everything. I'm the unicorn that she couldn't find at the last meeting.
Okay. Are there any further comments? Thank you, Ms. Coons. I appreciate it. That being said, I'll entertain a motion.
So I'm still going to make a motion to appoint Shannon Norgren to fulfill the vacancy for town council pursuant to section 3.023 of the Town of Hudson Home Rule Charter.
I second that.
We were gonna need a roll call on this, correct?
Yes.
Can I get a roll call?
Yes, give me just a second. Thank you. All right, roll call. Councilmember Biskins.
Aye.
Councilmember Warren,
Aye.
Councilmember Stadler,
Yeah.
Councilmember Hammack,
No.
Councilmember Knoll,
Yes.
and Mayor Harges.
Yes.
Okay, that would be, yes, 5-6, that would pass.
Okay, congratulations, Shannon. Do we normally do the swearing in after, or do we do it right now?
But
No.
now,
Now, and then she said.
and then she said,
You thought you were getting out of it easy tonight, didn't you? Oh, yeah, and you get a picture taken too.
Well, your town clerk hasn't taken, or your acting interim town clerk hasn't taken her oath, so she can't give the oath.
Did we have
So-
to do it next time?
So what I would suggest is Ms. Norgren can certainly participate, but just can't vote tonight. And then at the next meeting, by then we'll have the town clerk having taken an oath, and we can then administer the oath to her.
You lucked out?
So come ready next time. Either one. Here, we'll move your stuff. There you go.
Okay, moving on. Resolution 22-22, resolution setting court costs pursuant to Article 2, Chapter 11 of the Town of Hudson Municipal Code.
yes, so we're going to go ahead and do the oath of office at the next meeting after Linda, our new town clerk, literally as of tonight, has had a chance to take her oath of office, so put her on the spot, but she knew the answer. She knew exactly what to do, so we're so happy to have her.
Perfect. Do you have anything for resolution 22-22?
Okay, actually, Scott, would you like to talk about court fees? I know I put my name on it, but I phoned a friend before the meeting and he decided to go ahead and help me out.
So a couple of our court costs were adjusted. Some of our transcription fees were then just adjusted to fall in line with this Colorado State Supreme Court transcription fees. Those fees were just $25. And then a couple of our other court cost fees were just adjusted for inflationary costs.
Any questions? With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 22-22, a resolution setting court costs pursuant to Article 2, Chapter 11 of the Town of Hudson Municipal Code.
I
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 22-23. A resolution approving an agreement with Green Acres Turf Farms Incorporated for the town's purchase of certain real property and accepting such property.
So this is very similar to the Yoshi Suzu property that came before you meeting before last, might have been last meeting. 2 weeks is not very far away, is it? But the difference between this and the purchases that have gone through escrow through BNSF is we're actually purchasing this property. So in your packet is a purchase and sale agreement, right?
Purchasing it with their money.
With their,
So it
But
is
it's-
funded by BNSF,
it's-
just to be clear.
technically purchased by the town, funded by BNSF. Thank you. But the purchase and sale agreement is in your packet. It's a little bit different than what's been in there before because it's gone through BNSF escrow. So that's the little bit of difference here. But it's just like Yoshisuzu, what you did the last couple meetings. Does anybody have any questions? This is for all of the BNSF industrial park improvements and related to their development agreement and subdivision improvement agreement that they have had with us since they started developing that property.
Yeah, I have a quick question, just for sake of, the citizen brought up the earlier concerns. We have notified Green Acre Turf Farms of this. They have been involved. Can you speak to how we notified them?
Likely right-of-way advisors would have made the first initial. So right-of-way advisors is a BNSF. They work with BNSF.
Just so that we have.
Let-
it on
let-
there.
Go ahead.
So
You do it. Yes.
It has been a combination. So BNSF has hired someone called right-of-way advisors, but the town, again, on BNSF's dime, hired its own right-of-way negotiator, a woman by the name of Nancy Ragland from Western States Land Services. She worked with both Green Acres Turf Farm and Yoshi and Suzu, not only on the acquisition piece, but assuring that they would always have access during construction and notifying them of all the issues related to construction. So they know completely what's going on. And these improvements are frankly to create the XL decel lanes for the industrial park. Which were part of their part of BNSF's obligations as part of the original subdivision agreement.
Thank you. Any further questions from the council?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 22-23, a resolution approving an agreement with Green Acres Turf Farms, Inc. for the town's purchase of certain real property and accepting such property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Too fast, Danny.
Yeah, I know. I didn't give her time. Do we need, is that something we need to roll call on or no?
No.
Okay, motion pass. Moving on to resolution 22-24, First Amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement establishing the Kingsburg Library.
So essentially, this is just extending the existing IGA for another year. And this has been their MO. We just extend it every year, every time it comes up for expiration. None of the components of the actual agreement have changed. It's just the term.
Any questions from council?
No.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 22-24, First Amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement establishing the Kingsburg Library.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Resolution 22-25, a resolution reappointing Gerald Hafner to the Hudson Housing Authority.
Yes, so the town does appoint members to the Housing Authority. This person has been on the Housing Authority before. They're seeking a reappointment from the council tonight.
Is individual present for comment?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 22-25, a resolution reappointing Gerald Hafner to the Hudson Housing Authority. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Resolution 22-26, resolution approving licensing agreement with BNSF Railway Company for a fiber optic crossing of the railway line.
So this is the agreement that will kind of go over our two permits that we're seeking from BNSF. One is to take the fiber underneath 52. That's the main connection. That's the super essential connection. The other one is through their industrial parking, taking it up through our public easements so that, we can have tenants and businesses connect to it up there. Those are all crossings that we had to get permitted as well. So the agreement covers those two permits. And that will allow us to basically make that main connection with a lot of people and flaggers and all of that involved too, once we finally get it under construction and pushed under the railroad tracks. So with that, does anybody have any questions? This is related to the big broadband project that we've got going. This funding will come out of that. Any fees or anything associated with this agreement will come out of those funds, that GL fund associated with the broadband project. So this is actually, just to give you guys an update before I hit my staff report, this is kind of the last and final piece of this project. This has taken the longest. And you might see steam coming out of my ears right now, but it really has taken the longest. We're very excited to get it done. So if you have any questions, we're able to answer all of them now because we're almost done with the project.
Any questions from council? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 22-26, a resolution approving a license agreement with BNSF Railway Company for a fiber optic crossing of the railway line.
1 second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is an informational item on the Memorial Park concept draft.
All right, so what you have in front of you is, it's called opinion of cost, but that's just our designer's way of saying this is basically a proposal or a draft plan put in front of you that shows the culmination of the public input that we've got, all of our plans and things that we've heard over the course of, I don't know how many years we've been talking about these parks, and especially Memorial Park. What they actually did though was they went kind of a step further than we've been able to go in the past and drill it down to a set of very high level construction plans, say 30, what we say in the industry is like say 30%. They drew enough down to kind of get a good idea of what the cost of the project would be. How much concrete is it going to take? How much earthwork is it going to move? And how many trucks are we going to have to, haul off with dirt? And all of that has a cost associated with it. For those planning commission, you've already heard my diatribe about everything has a cost. So what this does is it pulls in all the little pocket projects that you could have, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. It's almost like a menu list, right? You pick out of the menu what options you think should happen first, second, third, fourth, and over time, we'll be able to take this concept and drill it down further. So maybe you do and that's actually what I'm going to ask you to try and look at, is maybe 2 projects that you want to focus on for development and design construction standards for this year. And then we think about over the course of the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, how we're going to chomp off little bits of this bigger plan with your budget and with, whatever RFPs we have to set up, whenever procedurally we have to do to get the park fully built out according to this plan. Now with this plan, we know how much everything costs, which makes grants a lot more seekable. If we know how much a project's going to cost and we already have it partially designed and we have a plan for it, it makes us more attractive that way. We compete a lot better. But it also lets you to figure out if you have a little bit of extra money in your budget and you really want to do a project and you're talking in June, right? You're starting talking about June, you get to September and you say, we really want to do a park project. Let's do this one. This lets you pick it up and do it a lot easier than having to basically create a will that you didn't have created before. So these are wills that you can pick up and use. That being said, there are a lot of embedded costs in here, things like earthwork. I'll pull up the pond, for example. The second pond that's in here is also looked at as potential for drainage. So if we do any road improvements or parking lot improvements, that all creates new drainage. We got to find a place for that water. That's a twofer, right? You may be able to use that pond for more than one thing. In addition, where that pond, the hole for that pit for that pond would be, all of that dirt we could borrow and put where your proposed softball fields are, and we'll never have to haul or bring in fill for that project. We borrow everything from offsite. So that, or on-site, excuse me. So that is actually kind of coupled into the costs that you see. Some of these things are, you have to do certain things without, you can't do one without the other. So you can't move dirt, or you can't not move dirt and build a trail because we need the dirt to build the trail. So there are some things that are mutually exclusive as well. So with that being said, I want to give you a chance to digest this. So this is why this is a discussion item. I'm not going to ask you for anything tonight. I want to let you take this home. I want to give the public a chance to digest this as well. We're going to put it up on the website as a draft now that we've been able to give it out to you and put it in the packet for the public and introduce it to you all. By the next meeting, I'll come back with a more of a kind of a filtered discussion about what potential projects you might like to see constructed. And whatever the top two are going to be the ones that we send back to the engineers to get us construction plans for. Does that sound like a plan? Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's what we'll do. And for anybody who hasn't had a chance to look at these plans, they are available in the packet for this meeting, and we're going to put them on our rec and events page as well. So that on that webpage on our website, so that that's front and center for people to make comments on. We've had things online for a long time, but you know, as they change and morph in what they look like, we want to put the newest and greatest stuff too. Anyways, that's the end of it. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Any questions?
No, sorry. I was
You started.
thinking about something else, sorry.
Okay, staff reports.
Oh, okay. You got tablets. That is never going to be part of my staff report again. If you have any issues with your tablets, please just let me know, but they're brand new, so they should be good. And I will get you yours. I didn't know who to set it up for, so now I do. So I'll set yours up and give it to you for the next meeting. And if I can get it to you before the next meeting, I will. Okay. Another thing that I've been working on as a result of dealing with tablets and police technology and equipment, we're developing an RFQ just to see what kind of IT services might be out there for our added services. When we started with IT, we had a handful of staff people and very low tech. And now we've got police gadgets, and I can't even go into details on what all kinds of gadgets they have, but we've got SCADA operating at our wastewater treatment facility, and that's a heavy duty program. And we've got bigger IT needs, and we just want to see what's out there. So that's the difference between an RFP, which is a proposal, a request for proposals, is like I'm asking for people to give me a proposal for a service. A request for qualifications is just to go and see what people are providing, what their rates are. And it's really just a call for kind of a information from people. But just wanted to let you know I'm working on that. And if I put anything out as an RFQ, it'll go out on BidNet. BidNet is the bigger RFQ, RFP platform that governments use to put out construction bids and other things. So we'll put it out to the kind of greater universe of government bidding. Okay.
Who wants next?
Yeah, you can go to Scott. And then Lee.
On the police department side, we hired our administrative sergeant this week, so that gap is now filled. We hired Sergeant Kevin Jamison. He comes from the Erie Police Department. He's been there 23 years. Last 5 years, he's been their admin sergeant. So he starts in 2 weeks, and there should be no gap in services whatsoever administratively for the police department.
Good
That's
deal.
all I have now.
Awesome. All right, sir, any
All right, thank
questions?
Oh,
No?
one quick thing, not to add to your staff report, but
Sure.
Scott's going to be our representative at the Southeast World Chamber of Commerce Luncheon that happens the fourth Wednesday. I'm probably getting this date wrong. The fourth Wednesday of every month. I think it was what it was. The last Wednesday of every
Last
month.
Wednesday.
Those are regularly occurring meetings, and Sophia's been going to them randomly too for rec and events kinds of things. So just putting it out there if you're ever interested.
Okay, perfect. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
You're welcome.
Lee, looks like you're up, man.
Hello. You had concerns the last meeting about the backflow preventers, how it was dated in 2019,
We're talking about the letter
the
that you
letter.
all received.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did a little research and found out, yes, we did have a violation in 2019, and it has not been corrected. We're still in violation today. That's why the letter was dated back then.
Okay.
We have started or are starting to try and get the backflow preventers again now. And we're trying to rush it by the end of the summer. And apparently the prison was tired of me pestering them because they've already sent me 2022's backflow preventers. So that one's out of the way. TTHMs, we are going to start flushing hydrants. We're going to talk to, is it the state?
No, we've actually got to talk to our water resources engineer to make sure that we are not releasing any water that's entitled as part of our like augmentation requirement or anything like that. So every drop of water is accounted for, and any release of water that's accounted for, we don't want to lose it because that's like throwing, water dollars out the door. So we just need to make sure that however we deal with it, that if the state's conflicting with themselves, they tell us which will prevail, so we're going to work on that, but we've got a meeting set up with our wastewater treatment consultant and then our water resources consultant as well to just make sure that the two aren't conflicting with each other and their ideas.
So we're trying to move forward with that. We also found out that back in 2019, when we abandoned the elevated tanks, the old one, that it was supposed to be drained and an air gap between the tank and our water system and capped. It was never done. So here in the next week, if you see water running down the street, it's because I'm draining the tank.
Can I get some buckets to fill up, take back to my house?
Might want to throw it in your garden or something, but
But don't drink it.
My lawn.
yeah, it's been in there since 2019, so it's old water.
Drink at your own risk.
Are there any questions? Concerns?
Doing good.
Thank you.
And
Wait a minute. I have a question.
Okay.
I thought are you going to take that tank down? Because I thought it couldn't be left completely empty because that causes an issue with winds and such. It's no longer balanced and it could blow over.
I am not sure about the tank yet. My first step is just to get it disconnected from our water system.
And the process is decommissioning. So we would need to go whatever state process there's required for decommissioning a water tank, we would have to follow. And it would include all of that, like the concerns that you brought up, which should be included in the decommissioning process.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Any other questions from anybody? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think you're up next, Corey.
I don't think I have anything tonight.
I got something for you, buddy.
Okay,
Are you following the Douglas County School Board lawsuit at all?
absolutely.
Okay. I was just interested because that might be something that changes the way we.
So I'm happy to give a quick and dirty that what the Douglas, so you've heard me say for years, do not hit reply to all on emails. That becomes an email or a meeting. What Douglas County did is what's called a daisy chain. And so even though they didn't hit reply to all, if you look down the email chain, they are talking one-on-one, but collectively, they are following each other. And then what made it a violation is based on that, they made a decision. So they never actually went to an open meeting. They told the superintendent to resign essentially or be terminated before there was ever a meeting. So it was clear that they had made the decision via email through this daisy chain and made a decision. And so that's why the district court found against Douglas County. There's two parts to an open meetings violation. One is having more than two, but the other is making a decision. And so the court found that even though there wasn't three elected officials on any one email, that there had clearly the way the communications progressed, they had made that decision in private. To my knowledge, based on the training you've gotten and what happens in practice, Hudson Town Council has never done anything like that. And I want to make it abundantly clear. And this is the kind of bad facts that frankly can make really bad law.
Thank you, sir. That's all the questions I have. Questions from anybody else? I guess final citizens' comments. Comments will be allowed on matters that the town council previously considered for which public comment was not previously recorded.
Do you
Anybody?
wanna ask us if we all have our staff report?
I was going to do it after comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You guys get to be last,
Okay, that's fine. I just. was
if that's
wondering.
cool.
That's fine. I have nothing anyway.
If anybody wishes to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes. Showing nobody wants to come to the podium. We'll start with you, Sarah. Do you have any
No,
comments?
I got nothing. Thank you.
Yeah. Joe?
No, I'm good.
I'm good. Shannon? Candace?
I'm good.
Lisa? All right, so no comments. We can adjourn.
I don't
this-
have anything either, thank you.
You're welcome. Out of sight, out of mind, and it doesn't help that you're behind me. Seeing that's everything. I adjourn this meeting at 6:37.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Daniel.
See ya.